product line that I sold was a very boutique kind of product. It was very expensive. And there were probably about 20 or 30 different types of industries that use this product for various reasons. And so, what I began to realize in spending time with these field sales distributor who were all kind of very distrustful of salespeople, because often they would do calls with salespeople and the salespeople would make all kinds of promises and then never deliver. And as I began to learn this, I really recognized that there was an opportunity to distinguish myself, one, by being very responsive to the needs and the requests of my salespeople, my distributor people. And then two, I recognized there was an opportunity to become really technically sound. Now, I have a background in chemistry and computer science, right? And some of you may be like, what does that have to do with being an entrepreneurial coach and trainer? Right? However, I will tell you that there are many of those skills that absolutely serve me to this day. But I utilize and leverage my chemistry background to become really, really knowledgeable, and spent time with the PhDs and spent time learning the products and got in the lab and rolled up my sleeves and really became very, very learned about what I was selling and the benefits of what I was selling and how the product operated when it got into the hands of my customer, right? And one day I landed at a distributor, and all of sort of this work I had been doing was kind of put to the test. And this was a new guy I met, and I sort of came in and introduced myself, and I just could tell by the look on his face, he's like, oh my God, like, who is this? And what did these people send me? And he was just kind of like, let's get in the car, let's go. And we drove out to a customer, and he was really upset. And I wasn't quite clear about why he was so upset. And then we pulled into the parking lot of a sawmill just outside of Tacoma, Washington. And we are looking at these huge lumberjack dudes. I'm talking like 6'3", 6'4" in coveralls, and they're moving these huge logs with this heavy machinery. And then he just turns to me and he says, listen, we got a bad batch of your product. It ruined a massive run. And your customer service rep just sent the purchase guy a new batch, and apparently that product's not working either, and he's really, really pissed. And we now got to go in and talk to this guy. Let's go. And it was like, okay, gulp. So me and my little, I want you all to imagine this, me and my little Anne Klein suit and my little Nine West heels, I'm clicking along the floor of this sawmill. It's covered in sawdust. Sawdust is blowing right all around the factory. And I'm going up these little rickety set of stairs into this booth to talk to this purchase agent. And I mean, when I got up there, his name was Todd. And when I got up there, I mean, this dude looked like he wanted to punch somebody in the face. And I'm just like, oh, and and he was trying to contain himself, but he totally rolled his eyes when he saw me. Like, you've got to be kidding me. And so I asked him what was going on. He was basically like, the product doesn't work. We've tried it. Your customer service rep sent us a new batch. It's not working. So we go down to the floor and I asked them to pop the lid on the barrel of the product. And then I turn to someone and I'm like, can you get me a flask? And I take off my jacket and I roll up my sleeves. And all of a sudden, it's fascinating the way the energy in the mill shifted. Like, okay, this is someone that's willing to get their hands dirty immediately, right? So the guys became actually very supportive. I was like, can you get me a flask? Can you get me some hot water? And I could tell as soon as I popped the lid that the product had been frozen and it had separated, and that basically what needed to happen in terms of being able to redoctor the product and get it to work. So I got them, asking them for water and this and that, and they run. And there was a big guy who ran the line by the name of Dan. He's about 6'7", 300 pounds. But very friendly demeanor. And I decided that was going to be my best friend. So me and Dan started talking. I was like, Dan, did you roll the barrel? Yep, roll the barrel. Didn't work. I was like, okay, great. So they got me the flask. They got me the hot water. I started to work up a sample. And I'm looking at the line and trying to understand what's going on with the line and figuring out where the application area is. And finally, I hand Dan the sample and I'm like, okay, apply it now and let's see if it works. And sure enough, Dan adds it to the line and the product immediately, you could see the effect. It was an anti-foam product. And so there was a lot of foam generated when they were cutting the wood, basically. And this, once you throw the product on, it's supposed to knock the foam down. And it had not been doing that. And as soon as this product hit the water, it knocked the foam down. And Dan starts clapping like, oh, we're in business, And I have a little bit of an audience at this point, and needless to say, I turn and then I just start to give them instructions. Okay, guys, here's what you need to do. The product is good, but this is what you need to do to work it up. I ask them to send me a sample of the old batch, the whole thing, right? And I give you all that example because when we get back into the car, this is a field sales distributor that had no use for me when I first walked in the door, right? Based upon how I looked, based upon how I was dressed. There's no way that this sort of New York City slicker is going to know how to do anything that's going to be remotely helpful here. And he turned to me and he said, I don't know what you did, but thank you. And the word of that interaction and the word of that work that happened in that little sawmill outside of Tacoma, Washington, began to spread like wildfire through the community of distributors. And there was another level of respect and engagement that was generated as a result. And I raise this because I know sometimes we can be in environments and we can get caught up in the politics. We can get caught up in who likes us and who doesn't like us. And we don't have any control over that.